maybe don't take it to the library either. Hi everyone, I'm Jacob. I'm the CowHatLibrarian, and this was a fun one that I just got in at the academic library I work at. I ordered it for the picture book collection we keep for the teachers who are in training at our institution. And it is Never Take Your Rhino on a Plane by K.E. Lewis and Isabel Roxas. As our story starts. A child is heading out the door and warns us that you can take him on a ship, hail a taxi for the trip, waltz him gladly to the car or to the train. And continues talking about the places where you can safely take a rhino, but notes that you very, very most certainly should not take it on a plane. Because that rhino is going to cause all sorts of problems with the packing. And the method of getting there. And even how the Rhino treats things like those fabric line dividers. And all sorts of other things in the airport that a Rhino really isn't going to do so great on moving sidewalks or in restaurants at the airport. And especially not in the plane, because he's going to play with the safety vests and he's going to be rocking his seat back and forth and annoying everyone, and he's going to make a mess when he has snacks, and he's going to be pestering other passengers, and even when you make it out, the difficulties don't stop there. So whatever you do, never take a rhino on the plane, because there's more nonsense at your travel destination, including behaving badly at a theater production, and in a pool, and on a roller coaster. And all in all, taking a rhino on your trip, especially when it involves a plane, does not end well. So, this was a lot of fun. First off, the title sets you up for success with the readers in your storytime group or your classroom or your children. As soon as you read it, never take your rhino on a plane, they're instantly asking, why? They know this is a ridiculous idea. Taking a rhino on a plane, why would you? But they want to know the reason why, and your listeners are engaged right from the moment you read that title. They can already imagine how ridiculous it's going to be. And it sets you up for a win, honestly. Now, the tip-tapping rhyming is pretty good all the way through. The author comes up with stuff like this. Drags his duffel as you shuffle through the gate. And you'll feel like you'll explode as the bus speeds down the road, because the only option left is roller skates. The tip-tap rhyming scheme reminds me a lot of the picture book about the child in a classroom hearing about the 7 Seas and daydreaming about all the things you could do in them. That the Red Sea is made of tomatoes and ketchup and so on. And it reminds me a lot of that rhythm, and I quite like that rhythm there. There was 1 or 2 places where I sort of stumbled reading it aloud to myself. And I would recommend that if you're reading it for story time, definitely read through it a couple times so you're used to the rhythm changes. And so it hopefully doesn't trip you up when you're doing this live for an audience. The art style's fine. Fun colors, minimal outlines, and the art style, to some degree, feels almost collage-like. I don't think it was actually created that way, but it looks like it could have been done that way, just because of how the different elements overlay each other and the shadowing around the edges of them. It feels like it could have been made out of bits of paper assembled in a collage, and I think it's a really great art style. The characters are very expressive. The Rhino gets into all sorts of weird contortions that, while silly, while impossible, really, really seem to emphasize the idea of movement and stretching and bouncing. Almost the idea of animation, how things should stretch and contract a little bit to really emphasize movement and change. And it sort of comes into play here with how the Rhino is depicted. And yeah, if I was going to pair this with something, that book about the Seven Seas would be solid in terms of the rhythm. But the one that really, really popped into my mind was You're Going to Love This Book by Jory John. I feel like it would be a really, really great 1-2 punch. This one that's absurd, but takes itself seriously. It's not pandering to the reader. There's no fourth wall breaking. It's just, you shouldn't take a rhino on a plane for all these reasons, which smart readers will know are very, very, very similar to the things that happen when parents take little kids on plane trips. And leading into the You're Going to Love This Book and the fourth wall breaking, sort of smarter than thou narrator, and who doesn't really get it when the listeners aren't excited by raisins and homework and chore lists. The other one I might recommend is, and I'm blanking on the author, I know the illustrator very, very well. Here Comes Destructosaurus, and I'll put the author here in the picture of the book. Illustrated by Jeremy Tankard, of course. The whole idea that there's this dinosaur-like thing wreaking havoc on this city, tossing and turning and throwing a tantrum, and it turns out they were looking for their lost teddy bear. It has the same sort of vibe as this book, and the idea that this is a stand-in for what a little kid would do, but in a fun, friendly form for that audience. I liked it. I recommend it. Go borrow it from your public library. While I'm on that topic, if you use and appreciate the services offered by your public library, why not take just 1 minute and tell the powers that be exactly that? Tell your mayor, tell a council member, tell your MP or MLA that you use and appreciate the services offered by your public library. We're at a time where some public libraries are having trouble finding sustainable funding to continue improving the materials, programs, and services they offer. And a few good words in the right ears might make a world of difference. Now, if by some chance you're a library staff member, don't forget, watching my videos counts as professional development time. With that, thank you for listening to me talk about this one, and thank you for not bringing a rhino to my library. By all means, please like, please subscribe, and please check back and see what else I have to talk about from the CowHat Library. Thank you. Bye now.